After some extensive testing, I'm finally done with my mining cutter build, and today we're gonna go over it. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous with Down to Earth Astronomy. The gold digger is finally done, and we're gonna run over the loadout today, and then later on I'm gonna show you some of the tactics that I use when I mine, because the loadout on it, to get the optimal out of the ship, you need to apply some certain tactics when mining. So let's quickly just start by looking at the hard points. I have two mining lances. These are power play mining lasers, special mining lasers. These are not mandatory. You can go with a normal class 2 mining lasers here. They're going to be slightly faster, but the mining lances have up to 2 kilometer range, whereas the normal mining lasers only has 500 meters, so you get 4 times the range, which is really nice on a ship like the cutter. And if you're going to apply some of the speed prospecting tactics that I'm going to show you a little bit later, then I think that at least one mining lance is mandatory for that tactic to work. Again, it is power play, so it will take you 4 weeks to get them. But if you want to get the full out of the build, I recommend that you get these. Then we have 2 medium beam lasers and 2 large beam lasers. These are all engineered with efficient and regeneration sequence. Regeneration sequence is because I'm planning, we're not going to be doing that much combat in it. And if we are in a fleet with other mining ships which may not have the same level of defense as we have, it's really nice to have that healing capabilities so that we can keep our fleet alive. You can change out the special effect or the experimental effect on the lasers here if you want to. I just went to regeneration sequence to be able to heal my allies a little bit. And then for the huge, we just have a multi-cannon, of course all gimbaled here, with overcharge and corrosive shell. So this is just the weapons that we use to take out pirates, and they will take out most things that you will encounter. This shouldn't be an issue. You have plenty of firepower to survive even a fairly harsh attacks by pirates. Moving on to the utility mounts, these are all shield boosters. And the loadout, now I can't remember which order they're in here. So this is resistance. I believe I have 2 resistance in here. Yes, I have 2 resistance. And I will probably down here at the bottom maybe, I'll have 2 thermal. Yeah. I'll do thermal resistance with thermal block on here. And I think this one has the same. And yeah, that's the same. And the resistant was of course with super capacitor, and the rest of them are all high cap or heavy duty with super capacitor. So 2 resistance with super capacitor, 2 thermal with thermal block, and the rest is heavy duty. And you can change this out if you have a shield layout that you prefer over this. Again, this is just the thing that I ended up with. Again, it's not really a combat ship. You can definitely take this into a high intensity resource extraction site. I've done that with no problems. But at least that is the shield layout that I've ended up going with. You can change it out as you see fit. Moving on to the core internals. Armor. We're keeping the lightweight alloy here. We're not really planning to use our armor to tank, and if our shields go down, we're gonna go into full-on brown alert mode, and run away. Modification wise, heavy duty, deep plating. We don't gain any additional mass because lightweight alloy doesn't have mass, so this is pretty much all just for free. Power plant, again modified, overcharged. We need a little bit of overcharge on this to get enough power, and then thermal spread to keep our heat down. Thrusters are of course dirty drive with drag drives on them to get as much maneuverability out of the ship. The cutter does drift, so more maneuverability would be really nice. Frame shift drive is again not really interesting here. Increase range and mass management, get as much range as we can. Life support here is lightweighted, so we get as much jump range out of the ship as we can. So if we need to move between stations to sell our commodities after we have collected them, we can do it in as few jumps as possible, especially because we do not carry a fuel scoop. Power distributor here, charge enhanced, so we can keep all those lasers firing in a combat situation, and also that we can move as many pips away from our weapons as possible. With the charged-handed super conduit, you can keep just 2 pips to weapons, and then you can keep the mining lasers running indefinitely. That means you can put the 4 pips into your engines, so you get as much speed out of your ship while you're flying around out there. But because we're flying around with our cargo scoop open, we will of course be slowed down quite a lot. Sensors are lightweighted, nothing special there. And that's pretty much the core turn. Oh yeah, sensors and life support are D-rated. To get it slightly larger, the rest is A. And then let's move into the optional internals here. Let's go all the way to the top. The 2 Class 8 are cargo racks, giving us 512 tons of cargo. That should be sufficient for a very decent mining trip. If you mine 500 tons of anything, then you definitely... I think it's definitely time for you to go back to the station. So that should be plenty of cargo there. Then I've gone with a 6A prismatic shield generator with reinforced shields and high cap. Prismatics are not mandatory. You can go A-rated if you want. Prismatics just give you extra hit points. And the whole trick with this tank here is, compared to if we looked at the cutter I did, or the corvette I did, where I went with bi-reefs, with fast charge, so you could recharge the shield as fast as possible. Because in that ship, we were expected to be under continuous fire over a long period, so we want to be able to recharge it. Whereas in this ship, we expect to be only in combat for very short periods of time, and we just need enough shield to survive that engagement, and then we will have plenty of time as we're mining to just put a few pips over to our systems to recharge our shields. So this is why I've gone with prismatics on this one, with reinforced and high cap to get as many hit points out of the ship as we can. We're going to have a look at the final shield statistics once the ship is done. Here I went, this slot is really, you can do with it what you want. You can go with a Guardian FSD booster, as I've done here, to gain extra range. You can see we have a pretty respectable range down here. You can also, if you want to be able to collect even faster, you can fit an extra 5A collector limpet controller. That you could do that as well. If you want even more cargo, you can use that for extra cargo rack. There's a lot of opportunities you could put. I think it's 200 and something. 124, I think, something like that. In that slot, tons of cargo. So you can gain a little bit of extra cargo if you want. So this slot's really optional, so you don't have to have the FSD boost. I just think it's nice that I get that extra range, allowing me to easily get to where I want to sell the materials without doing too many jumps. So the ship doesn't feel too sluggish when you move around. Then we have 3 5A collector limpet controllers, giving us a total of 9 active collector limpets at the same time. And the 2 lasers that we have, the 2 mining lances, are easily able to keep up with the 9 collectors. So that means the lasers will mine fragments faster than the collectors. The 9 collectors can actually gather them. So that's why you can upgrade with an extra collector limpet here if you want to. And if you're getting to a situation where the limpets does not have anything to do, switch out 1 or 2 of the weapons of the lasers for extra mining equipment. Just keep in mind if you do that the other spots are out here on the nacelles on the side of the ship. And because the standard mining laser only has 500 meter range and the cutter is quite long, and you're now situating the mining lasers all the way at the back of the ship, that means that the distance in front of the nose of the ship that the laser can actually fire is very narrow. You have not a lot of space, and you pretty much need to be scraping the asteroid for the standard mining laser to be able to hit. Which is why mining lances is really nice if you want to use these rear spots, because you get that extra range. So then, of course, a 4A refinery with our 10 bin count. And not if there's no engineering. I think you can engineer it for something, but I think it's shielded. I didn't want to go for that, so I haven't engineered the refinery at all. A 5A Prospector limpet controller. 3A Prospector limpet controller. Again, engineered with lightweight. All these are also engineered with lightweight, in case you were wondering. There we go, lightweight. Again, we had a level 3 slot left, so why not use it? It's just important that you have a rated one, so you get as many fragments out of the rock as possible. Having 2 active limpets is really nice, so you can prospect towards 2 rocks at the same time. Then for the military compartments here, I've gone with the Guardian Reinforced Shield packs, just to give us a little bit more shield. You can go with some shield cell banks if you're really afraid that you're gonna lose your shields. or you can even go hull if you really want to do that, but I would definitely recommend going with the Guardian shield reinforcement packs. If you don't have access to them, then shield banks would probably be a good choice to go with those instead. And that's pretty much the build. I think now would be a good time to take the ship out and get mining. Okay, so I just dropped into a random spot in a ring here, and you can see we actually did have a pirate follow, an NPC pirate, of course, follow our wake down, and so I just wanted to give you a overview of what the ship is. An expert assault ship here. So just open up with our lasers and quickly take care of the shields, switch over and open up with the multi-cannon. And that, whoops, got off target there a bit. That should take care of it. So, a pretty capable ship. Not the biggest threat, but for the smaller ship that's gonna come in, I haven't really tried bigger ships with this, but I'm pretty sure it will be able to survive just fine. If we go and have a look at the shield strength here, you can see almost 5,000 shield hit points with some decent resistance across the board. So definitely not a bad shield tank, and then I would even think you could do some light bounty hunting in this without too many issues. But let's get over to the right firing group. Here we go. And there we go. I of course forgot to bring limpets, but I just quickly synthesized a few limpets here. So we're gonna open up our cargo hatch, which is the usual situation that we will be in. And the method you need to apply here that I used when I used the ship, where the mining lances really come in, is you put 4 pips to engines, 2 to weapons, and then when you get a rock in range, I think this one down here might be in range. Not quite. There we go. You just mine 1 fragment of it, keep full throttle, look at it. Oh, this will actually contain painite. So then we will prospect it, and we can then mine it, and we'll see how much painite is actually in this rock. But if there wasn't anything in that fragment that came out, I would just keep flying and then prospect 1 rock at a time, using my maneuvering thrusters to try and side strafe or drift the ship a bit. If there's not something this ship does good, it's drifting. 40% painite, that's actually pretty good. Let's get some collectors out here. And then just prospect the rocks using the lasers, and this is where the longer range really comes in handy. And then once I find a rock that looks interesting, then I'll begin to actually do a proper prospect of it with a prospector limpet, and then of course mine it if it turns out to be good. I'm just going to quickly mine this rock, and I'm going to show you what you can do to use your time efficiently while the collectors is doing their work. Okay, so the asteroid is done, and the collectors, as you can see, they still have a few fragments to pick up. So in the meantime, I'll just be sitting here stationary. I can move a little bit closer to the fragments. And I'll begin to prospect the rocks around me that I haven't prospected already. Now, we got a painite here in the first rock, so that was actually pretty lucky. Shoot a prospect over there as well. We can see the one next to us here, silver. That's not really interesting. Don't want that. And I can just sit here and I can begin to prospect what is around me until the collectors are done collecting their stuff. So the collectors are done. I didn't find anything in the rocks in my immediate vicinity. So I'm just going to, again, as we talked about here, begin to prospect some of the rocks around me. Pure iron, so that's not interesting. I have already prospected that rock. I'm going to go for this one next. And we simply just fly from rock to rock. We're not going too quickly here because we have a cargo scoop open, but I prefer just to keep it open, because if we go too fast, the cutter will drift, especially in a dense field like this. So now we can just take a look at that. Nope, that's not interesting. What about this one here? And then simply just fly from rock to rock, prospecting like this until you find something that you want to mine. And then once you find something, you fire off a prospector limpet. Oh, there we go. Gold and platinum. Let's try to fire off a prospector towards that rock. That's pretty good. I think I would definitely mine this rock. There's a lot of gold and a little bit of platinum in this one. And then just make sure that we have the collector limpets out. And of course we are running out of limpets now because I forgot to bring them. But I think I engineered, what, 16 limpets all in all. And from my experience, you're gonna easily be able to gain more materials than you're using limpets. How much did I get here? 11. Okay, so not quite did I get to the 16. I got to 15. But if you just fill up your cargo hold with limpets, or maybe leave like a little bit of space just for the initial run, then you should be good. But anyway, that is the build. I really hope you enjoyed this video, that you found it useful. If you did, give it a like down below. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I will see you guys in space.